The Eastern Front of World War II was a theater of unprecedented brutality and scale. It was a vast expanse where the clash of titanic armies resulted in scenes of devastation that were almost unimaginable. The sheer destruction left in the wake of these battles was a testament to the ferocity with which both sides fought. The landscape was littered with the remnants of tanks, artillery, and the ruins of once thriving towns and villages. It dwarfed the Western Front in its sheer size and ferocity. The Eastern Front stretched from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Black Sea in the south, encompassing a vast array of terrains and climates. The scale of the operations conducted here was unlike anything seen before or since. Entire armies maneuvered across hundreds of miles, engaging in battles that would determine the fate of nations. Millions clashed in a struggle for survival, driven by ideologies and ambitions that fueled unimaginable violence. The soldiers on both sides were often caught in a relentless cycle of attack and counterattack, with little respite. The brutality of the fighting was matched only by the harshness of the conditions, as soldiers faced not only their enemies but also the unforgiving elements. Yet beyond the well-known battles like Stalingrad and Kursk, lie countless untold stories. These lesser-known engagements, though smaller in scale, were no less significant in their impact. They were the scenes of fierce fighting, where the outcome of the war could hinge on the bravery and ingenuity of a few determined individuals. These are the stories of smaller engagements, innovative tactics, and individual acts of courage that often get lost in the larger narrative. In these moments, soldiers on both sides displayed remarkable resourcefulness and bravery, often devising new strategies on the fly to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. These acts of heroism, though not always recognized, played a crucial role in the broader conflict. These stories offer a different perspective on the war. They provide a more intimate look at the experiences of the soldiers who fought on the Eastern Front, highlighting the human element of the conflict. Through their eyes, we can gain a deeper understanding of the challenges they faced and the sacrifices they made. They illuminate the experiences of ordinary soldiers. These men, often far from home and loved ones, found ways to cope with the harsh realities of war. Whether through writing letters, sharing meals, or finding moments of camaraderie, they sought to maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. These glimpses into their daily lives remind us of their humanity and resilience. They reveal the strategic complexities that often went unnoticed. The Eastern Front was not just a battlefield of brute force, it was also a theater of intricate planning and strategy. Military leaders on both sides had to navigate a constantly shifting landscape, making decisions that could alter the course of the war. The strategies devised in these moments of crisis were often the result of careful consideration and bold thinking. By examining these untold stories, we gain a more nuanced understanding of the Eastern Front's impact on the war's outcome and the profound human cost of the conflict. These narratives, often overshadowed by the larger battles, provide valuable insights into the true nature of the war. They remind us that history is not just a series of grand events, but also a tapestry of individual experiences and sacrifices. Through these stories, we honor the memory of those who fought and ensure that their contributions are not forgotten. The Battles of Rzhev, a series of engagements fought near the city of Rzhev in western Russia, exemplify the brutal attrition warfare that characterized the Eastern Front. These battles, often referred to as the Rzhev meat grinder, were some of the most grueling and deadly confrontations of World War II. The harsh winter conditions combined with the relentless fighting created a nightmarish scenario for the soldiers on both sides. From January 1942 to March 1943, German and Soviet forces clashed in a series of prolonged and bloody battles. The Soviet Union, under the command of General Zhukov, launched multiple offensives to reclaim the territory occupied by the Germans. The Wehrmacht, on the other hand, was determined to hold their ground, leading to a stalemate that lasted over a year. The battles were marked by intense close-quarters combat, with soldiers fighting in forests, villages, and open fields, often in freezing temperatures. The Wehrmacht, seeking to hold onto their strategic positions, faced relentless Soviet offensives aimed at liberating occupied territory. The German forces constructed extensive defensive fortifications, including trenches, bunkers, and minefields, to repel the Soviet attacks. Despite their efforts, the Soviets continued to press forward, launching wave after wave of assaults. The use of tanks, artillery and air support by both sides turned the battlefield into a hellish landscape of destruction and death. What ensued was a grinding war of attrition. The soldiers endured not only the enemy's fire but also the harsh elements. Rain turned the trenches into quagmires of mud, and the constant artillery bombardments created a deafening and terrifying environment. The wounded were often left in no man's land, with medics risking their lives to bring them back to safety. The psychological toll on the soldiers was immense, as they faced the constant threat of death and injury. Both sides endured horrific casualties for minimal territorial gains. The battles of Rzhev resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths, with many more wounded. The field hospitals were overwhelmed with the injured, and the exhausted soldiers had little time to rest before being sent back into the fray. The relentless nature of the fighting meant that even small advances were paid for with a high price in human lives. The battles of Rzhev, often overshadowed by the more famous Battle of Stalingrad, represent the brutal reality of the Eastern Front. While Stalingrad is remembered as a turning point in the war, the Rzhev battles were equally significant in terms of the scale of the fighting and the suffering endured by the soldiers. The destruction of villages and towns in the Rzhev area left a lasting scar on the landscape, and the memories of those who fought there are a testament to the horrors of war. They serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of the conflict, even in battles less recognized by history. The memorials and grave markers near Rzhev stand as silent witnesses to the sacrifice of those who fought and died. The emotional reunions of soldiers with their families and the somber reflections of veterans highlight the enduring impact of the battles. The Rzhev battles may not be as well known as others, but they are a crucial part of the story of World War II, reminding us of the resilience and bravery of the soldiers who fought in one of the most challenging and brutal theaters of the war. The human toll of the Rzhev battles is best understood through the first-hand accounts of those who fought there. One Soviet soldier, Viktor Astafyev, recalled the relentless shelling and the constant fear of death. He wrote, "The earth seemed to explode. Men were tossed into the air like rag dolls. The physical and psychological scars of Rzhev ran deep." Another soldier, Ivan Stadnyuk, described the battlefield as a landscape of death and destruction. The recollections of these soldiers, filled with vivid imagery of the battle's horrors, provide a starkly personal perspective on the Eastern Front. They offer a window into the experiences of countless individuals who endured the unimaginable. Section 4, Operation Mars, a counterpoint to Stalingrad. While the Battle of Stalingrad raged, another lesser-known Soviet offensive, Operation Mars, unfolded near Rzhev. This operation, often overshadowed by the more famous battles of World War II, was a significant endeavor by the Soviet Union to weaken the German forces on the Eastern Front. Launched in November 1942, Operation Mars was intended to capitalize on the Wehrmacht's preoccupation with Stalingrad. The Soviet High Command, under the leadership of Marshal Zhukov, meticulously planned this offensive to strike a decisive blow against the German Ninth Army. The goal was to encircle and destroy the German Ninth Army, further weakening the German war effort. The operation aimed to create a pincer movement, trapping the German forces and cutting off their supply lines, thereby crippling their ability to sustain the war effort on the Eastern Front. The operation involved a massive Soviet force, equipped with tanks and artillery, tasked with breaking through heavily fortified German lines. The Soviet troops, driven by a sense of duty and patriotism, faced harsh winter conditions and formidable German defenses. However, the operation faced fierce German resistance and was ultimately unsuccessful. The German Ninth Army, well prepared and deeply entrenched, managed to repel the Soviet attacks, inflicting heavy casualties on the advancing Red Army. Despite the setback, Operation Mars played a crucial role in diverting German resources from Stalingrad, contributing to the eventual Soviet victory in that pivotal battle. The diversion of German troops and equipment to the Rzhev sector eased the pressure on Soviet forces in Stalingrad, allowing them to encircle and defeat the German Sixth Army. The operation's failure also highlighted the strategic complexities of the Eastern Front and the challenges faced by the Red Army. The harsh winter, the rugged terrain, and the well-fortified German positions made the Eastern Front one of the most challenging theaters of war. Operation Mars, though not successful in its primary objective, demonstrated the resilience and determination of the Soviet forces. It underscored the importance of coordination, intelligence, and adaptability in military strategy. The lessons learned from this operation were invaluable for future Soviet offensives, contributing to the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. Section 5. Strategic shifts and unseen consequences. The battles around Rzhev and Operation Mars, though often overshadowed by Stalingrad, had a significant impact on the war's overall trajectory. The heavy casualties suffered by the Wehrmacht at Rzhev, along with the diversion of forces to counter Operation Mars, weakened their strategic position. These battles, though tactically inconclusive, contributed to the gradual shift in momentum on the Eastern Front. They bought valuable time for the Red Army to regroup and rebuild. Moreover, the experiences gained by Soviet commanders and soldiers in these battles proved invaluable in later stages of the war. The lessons learned in the trenches of Rzhev and the frozen battlefields of Operation Mars would shape Soviet tactics and contribute to their eventual victory.